Well, good evening, everyone. My name's David Lewis. Some of you know me. I've been here before. And I'm very happy to be back. I'm very happy for the opportunity to simply abide in the present moment. What a remarkable opportunity we have. So while people are signing on, it's sometimes said in the Dharma community that with meditation, with mindfulness, you never have to wait for something to start because it's already happening. It's just a matter of whether we're paying attention or not. So the invitation this evening is to notice whatever's happening. So I invite you to get comfortable. Sitting, standing, lying down, finding a posture that allows you to both remain alert, but also relaxed. Two preconditions for meditation. So find a posture that is comfortable for you. And allow yourself to inhabit that posture. Bringing your attention to the body. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, that's sometimes helpful to bring the gaze inward. But if you prefer to keep your eyes open, I would only suggest focusing on some still point on the wall or the floor, anything but the screen. There's a lot going on the screen. And perhaps just invite a couple of deep breaths. Reminding us that the body is always in the present moment, as are its functions, like breathing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling. All are happening in the present moment. No matter where the mind may wander off to, past or the future, or get caught up in some story, the body is right here in the present moment. So in order to be present, all you have to do is bring your attention back to the body, to the breath. Perhaps some part of the body like the breath, or feeling your hands resting wherever they're resting, perhaps your feet on the floor. Even the sense of sound will bring you back to the present moment. This is always available to us, not only in meditation, but in daily life. The present moment is always present. It's just a matter of whether we're aware of it. It's not a time and a place, it's more of a mindset. And relax. There's nothing that we need to make happen, nothing we need to do other than relax and notice. whatever arises in our experience, nothing left out. Allow your body to settle into your seat. Feel your sits bones, points of contact with your chair or cushion. And turn your gaze inward. Often when we shut our eyes, our other sense doors open up. We notice noises we might not have noticed before. Even perhaps traffic passing outdoors, or sounds within your building, the room. You may notice the temperature of the air. Everything included in this changing present. This moment, right now, is the most important moment. And now this moment. Receiving whatever experience that arises in our awareness. And we can rest in the peace and ease that is the natural peace and ease of body and mind. This is our natural state. Uncomplicated by cognitive overlays. Simply resting in the peacefulness of a quiet body. And allow the mind to settle into the body like the body is settled into its chair. Bringing it all together through awareness, mindfulness. Even if the mind is busy at the moment, it's like this. A busy mind is like this. It's not a problem. It only becomes a problem if we want it to be otherwise. A settled body lends itself to a settled mind. So relax the body. relax the mind. And perhaps acknowledge some gratitude for the relief of letting go of the cares of the day. This opportunity to be still. Sounds may meet ear consciousness. They arise and pass of their own volition, uninvited. Sounds simply happen, they come and go. In the same way, thoughts arise and pass of their own volition, uninvited. If we don't engage with them, they come and they pass away. Not a problem. You may choose to stay with the breath, or some focus on a part of the body, or even focus on the posture. Or you may choose the option of opening up to what other phenomena are happening in your experience. Bodily sensations, sounds, even the process of thoughts arising and passing away. That's the sense door of cognition, and we can just watch with interest and curiosity. But if we find we've gotten caught up in some thought or story, or the mind has wandered off, it's not a problem. With mindfulness, at some point we'll notice that's happened. And it's an opportunity to gently let go. Gently bring our attention back to the breath, to the body, grounding ourselves once again in the present moment. Resting in the peace and ease that is the natural peace and ease of body and mind. So continue practicing in whatever manner works best for you. And I'll ring a bell at the end. If the mind has wandered, simply notice that that's happened. Not a problem. Bring your attention back to the breath, to your body. Ground yourself once again in the present moment. welcome back. Not that we ever left. I require a brief bio break. So I invite you to stretch or get a glass of water or continue meditating for maybe 2 minutes, and I'll be back with the Dharma talk. Thank you. So, my theme this evening is befriending the present moment. Befriending the present. And if I were really adamant about sticking to that theme, we would just continue meditating for another 45 minutes. Because talking is just another conceptual layer that kind of takes us away from the present moment. It's one of those things that makes teaching the Dharma a bit challenging. How to translate direct experience into words and concepts. Everyone, practitioners and non-practitioners alike, seem to agree that living in the present is a good thing. Many people are drawn to the Dharma practice because of its promise to help ground us in the here and now. But what does being in the present actually mean? What's it entail? I've taught a lot of beginning meditation groups over the years. And I've noticed that many people come with their own ideas about what being present means. And sometimes are disappointed when their actual experience meditating doesn't match their idea of what's supposed to happen. So, with those groups, I like to share this quote about meditation from Bhante Gunartana, because it's both descriptive and quite funny. Maybe you can relate to it. Bhante says, "Somewhere in this process, you will come face to face with the sudden and shocking realization that you are completely crazy. Your mind is a shrieking, gibbering madhouse on wheels, barreling pell-mell down the hill, utterly out of control and hopeless. But no problem. You are not crazier than you were yesterday. It's always been this way, but you never noticed." What we call monkey mind is often the first thing that people notice when they try meditating. And it can be an unsettling experience. This isn't what they were expecting, and they conclude that they must be doing something wrong. Sadly, we lose a few people at this stage practice. I can't tell you how many people over the years have told me that they've tried meditating once or twice and concluded that they simply can't meditate. So these are my people. If I share that Gunaratana quote with them, they often latch on to the gibbering madhouse on wheels part and not the no problem part. If I get the chance, I try to emphasize that yes, that's the way the mind often is, and it's not a problem. It's only a problem if we want it to be otherwise. I'm afraid that Dharma teachers like me sometimes exacerbate the problem by emphasizing the possibility of peace and ease when folks are finding the practice neither peaceful nor easy. This conundrum isn't limited to beginners. There are plenty of experienced practitioners who have done long retreats who still cling to notions of what they want to happen in meditation. Perhaps their last sit was tranquil and serene, but their next sit was not. Their disappointment will only make it worse. We all have preferences and expectations that can get in the way of simply being present. The third Zen patriarch observed that the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Our preference for a particular experience is the lesson of the second noble truth, the fact that craving is the cause of suffering. It's not skillful to beat ourselves up for being bad meditators. It is skillful to acknowledge that craving is happening, that this is our experience of the present moment. Not a problem. Sometimes just recognizing that craving is going on, that we have a preference, is enough to allow us to let go of that wish for things to be other than they are. Peace and tranquility can be a pleasant side effect of mindfulness practice, indeed. But the practice is not about striving for some preferred state of mind. Rather, it's about being mindful or recognizing that whatever is going on in our experience, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, with nothing left out. And I really mean nothing, including the gibbering madhouse on wheels. Befriending the present moment entails accepting our experience just as it is, rather than striving for some ideal state. And indeed, befriending the present moment includes befriending ourselves just as we are. And more often than not, that means acknowledging the presence of what we call, in our tradition, the hindrances. The hindrances are wanting something pleasant to happen, which is greed or craving, or wanting something unpleasant to go away, which is aversion, or simply distracting ourselves from what is happening by thinking about something else, which is delusion. Greed, aversion, and delusion. Noticing and accepting whatever is present, nothing left out, is wisdom. The Burmese teacher U Tejaniya says that only when the mind is simple can wisdom develop. A mind which thinks, expects, and plans blocks off wisdom. So how many of you noticed yourself indulging a hindrance or two in your sit this evening? Or perhaps you were just lost in a story or planning, or maybe all of the above, which is what we call a multiple hindrance attack. The Buddha recognized that thinking is our most common distraction. That doesn't mean that thinking is bad. Thinking is what the mind does, and we need to do it in order to manage our lives. But I think that Buddhism might be unique among wisdom traditions in recognizing that thinking, more often than not, doesn't cultivate wisdom as much as distract us from wisdom. We tend to get lost in concepts. We need to see the difference between the concepts we use to create a convincing mental picture of reality. The difference between that and reality itself. In Buddhism, in the Buddha's classical teaching, wisdom does not arise from entertaining deep spiritual thoughts, but rather from simply observing our direct experience, whatever that might be in the present moment. In our tradition, what we call direct experience is real, while thinking is an added conceptual layer that often obscures reality. Seeing the wisdom of this is a challenge for most of us Westerners, as we were raised to believe that thinking explains everything and is the solution to all our problems. It's our habit. There's another quote from U Tejaniya that says that reality is always paired with the concepts that we lay over it. Craving and aversion pay attention to the concepts. Wisdom pays attention to reality. So what is the alternative? What is this direct experience of the here and now? The Satipatthana Sutta, which summarizes the Buddha's most basic mindfulness instructions, starts out by emphasizing mindfulness of the body. In particular, mindfulness of the six sense doors of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, and cognizing. This is a body-based practice precisely because the body, as I said in the instructions, is always present. No matter what the mind is up to, the body's always present. If the mind wanders off in meditation or in daily life, all we have to do is notice that that's happened and bring our attention back to the body in order to ground ourselves in the present moment. Most wisdom traditions acknowledge the fundamental nature of the five senses of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, and smelling. But the Buddha was unique in adding cognition as the sixth sense door. By cognition, he didn't mean the conscious act of thinking as much as the natural tendency of the mind to generate thoughts. So cognition as a sense door is not that different from hearing. Thoughts arise uninvited and pass away of their own accord, just like sounds. Consciousness receives them, just as the ear receives sounds. Thoughts are only a problem if we latch onto them, either indulging them or the opposite, attempting to avoid them. One of the most famous teachings about the importance of the sense doors and direct experience is the Bahia Sutta, which is one of my favorites. It's actually quite a long story, so I will condense it. Bahia was a well-known guru in the Buddha's time. He was a teacher. And he had a following, and he believed that he was fully awakened. But he met a deva that challenged that notion. and told him that he should probably go see the Buddha. So Bahiya set out to find the Buddha, encountering adventures and obstacles along the way. In a way, it was a hero's journey, like Joseph Campbell writes about. Finally, he found the Buddha, and he asked for the Buddha's most advanced teachings. And this is the Buddha's famous advice to Bahiya. Bahiya, he said, you should train yourself thus. In reference to the seen, there will be only the seen. In reference to the heard, only the heard. In reference to the sensed, only the sensed. In reference to the cognized, only the cognized. This is how you should train yourself. When there will only be the seen in reference to the seen, only the heard in reference to the heard, only the sensed in reference to the sensed, only the cognized in reference to the cognized, then Bahiya, there is no you in connection with that. This, just this, is the end of suffering. That's it. That's the Buddha's teachings in a nutshell. It's one of his most direct and simple teachings, which is why I love it so much. In addressing Bahiya, who clearly was too much in his head, the Buddha advised him to simply pay attention to the direct experience of his sense doors. To paraphrase, he says, Bahiya, just be present in your own body and witness the phenomena of the senses arising and passing away. When you simplify your experience, you will see that it's just changing phenomena and not all about you. This is how one brings about the end of suffering. Just phenomena, not all about you. In other words, the practice is simpler than Bahiya thought. One of my favorite Dharma quotes is from the teacher, local teacher, Adyashanti, who says, it's not what you think, it's much, much less. So Bahiya grokked the teaching, and he became enlightened on the spot. But many subsequent yogis over the centuries distrust this secret teaching in plain sight. Distrust that it could be so simple. The Tibetan teacher Kalu Rinpoche described this intellectual resistance to simple awareness as the four faults of awareness. He suggests that people are resistant to trusting their direct experience because it is so close you can't see it, so deep you can't fathom it, so simple you can't believe it, so good you can't accept it. So we miss out on the miracle of the present moment. Simply paying attention to or being mindful of our direct experience seems like it's not stimulating enough. So we turn our attention to thinking or other distractions instead. As I mentioned the last time I think I was at Mission Dharma, we can witness this compulsion every day out on the streets when we see people walking down the street plugged into podcasts or looking at their screens. Multitasking. Psychologists sometimes explain this behavior as fear of missing out, or FOMO. But when we turn our attention to external stimulation, or even the internal stimulation of thinking, that's when we actually start missing out. We're missing out on reality itself. We're missing out on the warm sun on our faces, the friendly smile of a stranger, or the simplicity of a still mind. We miss out on the peace and tranquility that are simply being present. Sayadaw U Pandita noted that when the mind indulges in distractions, it becomes agitated. This is the usual state of affairs in the world, as we can observe. In their quest for happiness, people mistake excitement of the mind for real happiness. They never have the chance to experience the greater joy that comes with peace and tranquility. I've been noticing lately what a relief it is. What a blessing to connect with the present moment, simply by letting go of thinking and connecting with any one of the sense doors or all of them. You can do it anytime. In Dharma practice, this is sometimes called dropping in. Sharon Salzberg points out that meditation is the ultimate mobile device. You can use it anywhere, anytime, unobtrusively. It's almost like the present moment is a parallel universe, always there but mostly unacknowledged. But with practice, we can drop in whenever we want to. It's easier than you think. When we let go of our craving for stimulation, we can rest in the nature of mind, which is essentially empty and peaceful. Jetsumna Tenzin Palmo says, the nature of the mind has no problems. It's the only place in samsara which has no problems. It's our real island of refuge. And this is why we are trying to experience the nature of mind, because this is the only place where there is security. This is what makes the practice worthwhile for me. Finding a place of refuge in the midst of it all, especially in these troubling times, where we see the forces of greed, aversion, and delusion at work not only in ourselves, but in the world at large. These forces must be recognized and acknowledged as causes of suffering if we are to move beyond them, if we are to find peace. As you've heard many times at Sangha, the practice is about both learning to let go of what leads to suffering and accepting ourselves just as we are. Accepting the moment just as it is means accepting ourselves just as we are. The most succinct summary of this teaching is the Four Noble Truths. Life is inherently unreliable. We frequently make it worse through our reactivity. This just generates more suffering. The Eightfold Path shows us how to free ourselves from reactive patterns of mind. Freeing ourselves, or waking up, is not an intellectual activity. It's a sensual one. If you want to get out of your head, get into your body. Zen Master Dogen advised, you should cease from practice based on intellectual understanding, pursuing words and following after speech, and learn the backward step that turns your light inwardly to illuminate yourself. I love that suggestion that we learn the backward step. It very accurately describes the nature of this practice, which is more about letting go than getting something, more about accepting than making something happen. Befriending the present moment includes acknowledging our aversion, our doubts, our pain, and our desire to have things be other than they are. If we can just learn to face these difficulties, we can recognize them as habits of mind and not identify with them. They're just phenomena to be investigated, to be curious about. As Joseph Campbell says, the cave you fear to enter contains the treasure you seek. One translation of dukkha is unreliability. Dukkha is often translated as suffering, but I find unreliability to be a better translation. Our bodies are unreliable. Our memory is unreliable. The world is unreliable. And that can be a source of stress whenever we are reactive to it. Unreliability, dukkha, is not a problem if we're not reactive. But the present moment is reliable in its own way. It's constantly changing, as we notice in meditation, but that flux is in itself reliable. If we can accept whatever's going on, relax into it, and simply be curious, sitting quietly becomes quite a pleasant and informative experience, even with a busy mind. This is how we befriend the present moment. It takes a little practice. So I'd like to close with a couple of pertinent quotes. The first is from Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche, who observes, all we are looking for in life is right here in the present moment. And the second one is from Pico Iyer, who says, sitting still is a way of falling in love with the world and everything in it. So with that beautiful sentiment, thank you for your kind attention. I don't want to use too many words. In fact, let's just sit quietly for just a minute. Let it sink in. Checking in with the body. Letting those thoughts go. Whatever's going on is what's supposed to be going on. The present moment is like this. So, I'd love to hear what you think. Any thoughts or reflections or questions? Stephen, please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. My question is, what do you do with thoughts that are taboo? If you say those thoughts, you would get in trouble, but they're only thoughts. And you really can't express them because you can get yourself in trouble. They just come to your mind. You're never going to take action on them. You never have, but they're there and they come and go.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the problem is framing them as taboo because we all have crazy thoughts. We all have, it's one time or another, we've all probably had murderous thoughts. But How many of us have acted on them? Not very often. So what to do with them is just not take them seriously, not take them personally, and know that the mind generates some crazy stuff. Our day-to-day cognition, daydreaming, is not that different than night dreaming. And as we all know from dreams and nightmares, we have some crazy ideas, crazy thoughts arise. Um, but they're just thoughts, they're just phenomena, they just come and go. So whether they're crazy, whether they're we do the same thing with our crazy, with taboo thoughts as we do with brilliant thoughts, because that's another curveball that the mind can throw at you. Is, oh, it's all, I'm having this nice peaceful experience, but I just thought of the solution to a problem that I've been trying to work out for the past week, and I really need to think about that. That's just the mind trying to distract you from the present moment. So taboo thoughts, don't take them seriously any more than you take your nightmares seriously, or bad dreams or daydreams. Just they're just thoughts. That help, Stephen?
Yeah, Jack Cornfield once said that if everybody knew everybody's thoughts, everybody would be in prison.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Except as you said, we don't act on them, so they're harmless.
It's very strange because I have zero, zero experience acting on any of these thoughts, and I have 100% control of all my actions. But those crazy thoughts and thoughts come, and then I get freaked out.
Yeah, I think maybe resistance makes them a little bit more persistent. That's true with a lot of things like that. The more resistant we are, the more we fight it, the bigger it gets. So I'd say offer them a cup of tea. It's, Offer
Thank
them,
you. I
sure.
I do offer them tea.
Offer, offer them a cup of tea. They'll get bored and leave after a while.
I think the main thing is not to take them seriously, and thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Okay, Noemi. Hi, Noemi. Good to see you.
Hi, David. Just wanted to say thank you for your talk. Um, I've been really, I've been really experiencing emptiness and really finding myself clinging to it.
Ah,
And I get to noticing the clinging is what I need to do. It's like, well, I have to get out of the non-self to interact in daily life, if that makes sense. Because sometimes when I meditate, I feel the non-self emptiness
uh-huh.
and I really enjoy it. And then I have to realize that the self that I have to engage, that I have to use to engage in the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so, Noemi. I would just say that we're really good at selving and engaging with the world. We already know how to do that. So I wouldn't worry too much about the lovely emptiness that you experience, because that's kind of a more rare, special thing. I would say just enjoy it, because when it's time to engage with the world, you're going to know how to do it.
But sometimes I don't want to.
Oh well, that's great. That's aversion. That's
Yeah,
Notice
like,
the aversion.
I I mean, and then when I do, I don't find myself in the moment. I find myself out of the body, just okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
I can
So
relate to that.
that's I like the non-self and the emptiness.
It's all included, Noemi. It's all part of our experience. So just kind of enjoy that experience of moving in and out of emptiness and engaging with the world and meditating and noticing that everything changes. And you can always come back to emptiness. You can always come back to stillness. It's always there. It's the Buddha said it's our natural condition. So you're not going to lose it.
But I find that I can't share it with people that are close to me sometimes. And that bothers me that, I'm a very, one of my identities is very political. You've known me for a while. And it's a different space because it's so ironic that now is the time to be really political because all this crap is happening, but I can't seem to be there.
Well, I just say listen to your body, listen to your mind, what it's craving, what it's leaning towards, because um, we could. It is a time to be political, but we could be political. It's also a time to be peaceful, and sometimes the most effective political actions can come from an open heart and a peaceful mind and love. Come from a place of love. So I think they feed each other. I think you can hold all that at the same time. It's not this or that. It's it's all of it together.
Well, thank you, David. And it's good to see you, David.
Oh, it's always good to see you, Noemi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to be here with Mission Dharma. Anyone else? Any questions or reflections of your own or complaints? Anybody got a complaint? I love the wisdom of the Sangha. Lisa, please. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Um, yeah, just sort of related to Naomi's question is how do you stay how do can you can you stay present and be in conversation when can you you're thinking like how do you have thoughts like I'm just like how can I be more present in the workplace but I'm also doing things like can those two things coexist?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And yes, you can, but it's the reason we meditate is not because that's kind of a state that we want to be permanently in. The reason we meditate is just meditation's practice. Mindfulness is practice. And it's like playing scales on a piano. If you want to play Chopin beautifully, you have to learn how to play scales first. And that's what we do when we meditate. But eventually you'll be able to play Chopin on the piano if you practice. And so my answer to that is if you develop mindfulness practice and meditation, and then a little bit just in your daily life, being at home alone or with your loved ones, the more you practice that and the more you develop it, we're basically training the mind, the more that's going to spill over into every aspect of your daily life. So being mindful and present at work and in conversation will come. But we kind of have to play scales first. So, start with meditation. Really work on your meditation, give it some time, work on your meditation practice. And just trust that that's going to start spilling over into your daily life. You'll start noticing it with practice. It is, I just want to acknowledge that conversation is a really difficult place to be mindful, to be fully present. It's challenging. We never know what's going to come at us, and we want to prepare ourselves for the next comment, and we want to say the right thing, and we want to sound smart and all of those things. So it's challenging because, as you said, that's the conceptual realm that I was talking about in the talk. That's the conceptual overlay to reality. So we can drift away from reality really fast in conversation, or in reading, or in studying, or in a meeting at work. But the more you practice mindfulness and just abiding in the present moment, you have to have a little bit of faith. It'll show up in daily life. It'll show up in the workplace. And you'll notice it in yourself, and other people will notice it. So have a little faith and trust in that, and practice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I once heard some teacher say that the answer to every Buddhist question is get back on the cushion. Practice, practice, practice. Because that's what we're doing. We're training. We're training our minds. We're carving new neural pathways. We're letting go of old, past, unskillful habits, and we're cultivating and developing new habits. And it's like learning a language or learning to play a musical instrument. It doesn't happen overnight. Anyone else? Such good questions, such good comments this evening. Well, I just noticed the time. We're kind of getting close to the end of our time, and sorry about that. I should have interrupted myself before. Keith, do we have announcements?
Yeah, a couple announcements. So the first thing I just want to mention, we've all heard it before, is that this whole Sangha, the whole teachings, the fact that David is here sharing his experience and wisdom and love of the Dharma is because of the generosity of the Mission Dharma Sangha over the last, 4 decades, something like that. And that allows us to be here tonight, and allows for David to teach, it allows for Howie to teach, or for other teachers to teach, and to, to generously share that with us. And so I've put it in the chat. There are multiple ways to give dana. There's a number of monetary ways. If you are excited about volunteering, please reach out. There are lots of ways you could help there too. But have it come from the love of this practice, and for the teachers. And then the other piece was a few upcoming events. There's on the Saturday, the June 21st, from 11 to 3, there is a summer picnic gathering of all the different parts of the San Francisco Insight Dharma Center. All the details are in the chat for those of you who are local. And then on the 28th, the following weekend, Howie is going to have an in-person half-day retreat. And then there are 2 retreats at Spirit Rock that are listed there, one on the 24th of August and one over Labor Day, so the 27th of August through September 1st. So each of those 3 are options to do some in-person practice. So yeah, thank you, David. Back over to you.
Thank you, Keith. Let's just take a moment and offer the merit of our practice, recognizing that gathering this evening together was a good thing. Sitting together was a good thing, and sharing the Dharma is a very good thing. And in the same way that we have benefited ourselves, we wish for all beings to benefit. In the same way that we want to be happy and more free and present ourselves, that's what we wish for our loved ones. And all beings, may all beings be safe from danger and harm. May all beings be healthy in body and mind. May all beings everywhere live with peace and ease. May they be free of suffering. May it be so. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining this
David.
evening.
Thank you, David.
Good night, David. Thank you.
Everybody for
David, good night, everyone.
bye.
Thank you, David.
David.
Bye.
Be well.